Well, today is January 6th, and for some, that's the day of Epiphany. Now, I've got a story to tell on this January 6th day of Epiphany, and this may go a little longer. I hope it doesn't go too long, but I think the kids would like to hear this story. And if you're a kid, I think you would like to hear this story. Before I get into the story, the day of Epiphany takes place 12 days after Christmas. And some people, actually, it's interesting because some people do not open up Christmas presents on Christmas Day. No, they have a great celebration of Jesus' birth, but they wait 12 days later because on day of Epiphany, that's when you focus in on the Magi. Now, or the Wisemen that came and gave gifts to Jesus. And by the way, we don't know if there were 3, 2, 1. We always think of 3 because of the gifts. And by the way, even though we put them in the nativity scene, the Magi didn't show up until maybe Jesus was about 2 years old. A lot of interesting things about that too. But there's a story, thinking of the Magi and 3 kings, that was written a long time ago by a guy named Henry Van Dyke, and I didn't get the date of that, but it's called The Fourth Wiseman, and that's the story I want to tell you. Now, when Henry Van Dyke had this in mind, he did have 2 scripture places in mind. You could guess which ones they are. The first one, obviously, the Wiseman. Okay, here we go. Now we're getting into the story, and this is what once upon a time, you've heard about the 3 wise men that came to see Jesus, yeah. But did you know there was a 4th wise man? Yeah. And the wise men were studying about when is the Messiah going to come and when's the great event going to take place. And this was studying all over the lands. And when the star appeared, they realized, wow, this is the event. And they started to write to each other and said, hey, let's meet at such a place and we'll travel together and give him gifts. We'll give this new king gifts. And yeah, and there was one, Hezekiah, I'm going to call his name. I don't remember his name in the book, but we'll call him Hezekiah. Hezekiah said, yeah, I want to do that. I want to meet with my other wise men and travel with them. But I know they're going to get some great gifts. I know one may give gift of gold, and myrrh, and frankincense, but what can I give? And he had this idea. He sold everything he had, everything. And with his gifts, well, all the money made, he got three precious rubies. Precious rubies. He says, that's what I'm going to give to the king. These 3 special, precious rubies, priceless rubies. So he started on his journey to meet the other 3. And he was about ready to leave the town. And all of a sudden, out of the dark shadows comes this hungry old man. And he says, please, sir, can you give me something to eat? I really need something to eat, please. And Hezekiah thought, well, I don't have anything. All I've got is these 3 gifts, and I got to give these to the king. And the guy's going, please, sir, can you please give me some? I need something to eat. I need something. And Hezekiah had an idea. Not only would he give him 1 ruby, he's going to stay with him to help him out where he can get food himself, maybe get a job or something, but he's going to stick with him. So he does. And time goes by. And finally, the man was good enough to be on his own, and he got a good job, get his food, and he goes, now. And he went to meet his other friends, the other wise men. But it took a little time. And when he got to the place where they're supposed to meet, he was supposed to travel with the other wise men, there was a note there on this gate. And it said, dear Hezekiah, we waited as long as we could, but we had to leave without you. Please try to catch up with us if you can. Hezekiah felt really sad, really bummed out about this. And he's going, oh my goodness. And so he started to try. He said, but I'm going to try to catch up with him. Well, traveling back in those days, if you went as a caravan, as a group, you could go quicker. But by himself, Hezekiah had to stop and get food, and because he wasn't going to give, he had these 2 rubies. He just wasn't going to give up on them. He's got to keep these rubies. And it took a month, a year, another year, another year. And finally, Hezekiah found the place he was supposed to go to. It was Bethlehem. He was so excited. And he saw some people walking down the road. He says, please, can you tell me where the king is? Because I've got these precious gifts to give him. I got 2 rubies, please. Where is he at? And he goes, king? He goes, yeah. Have you ever seen anybody dressed like me? I had 3 friends. We kind of dressed alike. And one guy goes, yeah, I do remember that. That was about 2 years ago. And they brought gifts to this little baby. Joseph and Mary had a baby, and I think they called him Jesus, but they left here 2 years ago. They got out really quick. Don't know why, but they're not here. And Hezekiah was really sad. He goes, how can I got to find this. At least he knew the name. I got to find Jesus. I got to give him these 2 rubies. And so he started to walk out of Bethlehem. Went out of the shadows. A second time came this sick old lady. And she says, please, sir, I'm sick. I need help. Can you help me? And Hezekiah goes, I don't have any. He's thinking to himself, I just don't have anything. All I've got is 2 rubies, and I've got to give these to Jesus, the king. I've got to give it to him. And she goes, please, sir. And Hezekiah could never walk away from anybody in need. And he looked at the lady. And in his hand, he took out 1 more ruby. But he still had 1 left. And he stayed with the lady. He got help for her, got doctors for her, got her strong and feeling good. Because that's just what Hezekiah does. And he started on his journey holding on to this 1 ruby. And I don't know, a week went by, a month went by, a year went by, another year went by. It seems like wherever Hezekiah thought Jesus was, he just left or he wasn't there. But he's not going to give up a search. And almost 30 years goes by. Hezekiah is now an old man, but he's held on to this ruby. And he heard that Jesus was going to be in Jerusalem. Wow. And he's so excited because now he can give this ruby to the king. He's been meaning to give it to him for such a long time. He comes into Jerusalem and it's just midday, but the sky starts getting dark, starts getting cloudy. And he sees this guy in Jerusalem. He says, hey, please, can you tell me where Jesus is? I've got a gift. I've been trying to give him for so many years. Can you tell me where he is? And he goes, Jesus? You're looking for Jesus? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, well, you better hurry, because up on that hill, they're nailing him to the cross. And Hezekiah goes, why? He's never done anything wrong. I've heard great teachings that he's done and healed people. And why are they killing? He said, I don't know, man. But you better hurry, because I don't think he's got long left. And Jesus starts moving to the cross as fast as he can, because he wants to give Jesus this gift, the last ruby. When a third time, out of the shadows, comes a little boy. He says, please, sir, I need help. I'm sick and I'm hungry. Please, I need help. Can you help me? And Hezekiah's going, no. I can't help him because I don't have anything left but this 1 ruby, and I got to give it to Jesus. He starts to walk away, and the little boy goes, please, sir, please, I need your help. Hezekiah has never walked away from anybody in need. And he took his last ruby, and he put it in the boy's hand. And all of a sudden, as soon as he put it in his hand, this little boy, brilliant light took place. And the little boy became Jesus. Now remember, people, this is just a story. It's not in the Bible. But Hezekiah, he recognized, he said, oh, Jesus, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I have nothing left to give you. I don't have anything to give you. And Jesus looks at Hezekiah. And he picks him up, helps him up. He says, Hezekiah, don't you get it? I was the hungry old man. I was the sick old lady. I was the sick and hungry little boy. Hezekiah, whatever you did to the least of these, whatever you did to that, when you gave that ruby away to that person and that person, Hezekiah, you gave it to me. Hezekiah, come home with me. Now, that's the story of the 4th Wiseman, kind of with my slant on it. Go get the book Henry Van Dyke wrote. But this is Epiphany, January 6th. And by the way, I want to thank my friend Paul Everett. We always talk every Friday. We get together on the phone. He lives up in Northern California. And he reminded me today that this is his birthday. So, Paul, if you're watching this, happy birthday, my brother. And if you have kids, can I encourage you? Share the story of the fourth Wiseman with them. You can do it on any day. You don't have to do it on today, which is January 6th. And if you're going, I really don't know it, well, get the book. Or how about this? Let me tell your kids, and if you're a kid, let me tell you, all little kids, the story of the fourth Wiseman. Today is January 6th, Epiphany Day.